Hola! Welcome everyone, and my name is Arlene Johnson. I'd like to welcome you to the celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month here at Langston Library in our beautifully redone new area. And I'd like to get things started by introducing Dean and University Librarian Shimo Wang.
Thank you, Arlene, and welcome everybody. I have a very few remarks, and I'm going to introduce the Carlos and introduce today's speakers. So welcome you again. Like Arlene said, I'm the Dean of the Libraries. You have seen the wonderful changes for the space in the library. This is really for students. I hope you still get a chance every morning line up in the new Starbucks coffee to get your drink to start your day. It's so wonderful as we define our library vision as globally engaged, connected intellectual commons for university. So the celebration such as is really aligned with our vision and the mission for the libraries. Today we'll celebrate this event is organized between the UC Libraries and the Romance Language and Literature Department in the McMeekin College of Arts and Science. I'd like to especially thank Dr. Carlos Gutierrez, come close, Department Chair of the Romance Language and Literature, and today's speaker, Gamez Garcia, graduate student in the department. I also want to thank the people who organized this event. They are Arlene Johnson from the library, Arlene Johnson, Debbie Talavsky, Sally Moffitt, Marissa Lawrence, Sammy Slider, and Karen Kuju from the UC Libraries. And again, we cannot make this possible without department and the library working together. So with that, I'd like to have the Carlos come here introduce speakers. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Dean Wan, and thank you to all the wonderful librarians, Debbie, Karen, Arlene, Sally. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. This is a great initiative. Thank you to the library for its vision and for its willingness to commemorate Hispanic Heritage Month, and also to start this. Which I hope is going to have continuity of presenting events in the library in this wonderful space that we have now, and it seemed to us that having such a central place as the library to start this kind of collaboration where we bring not only the celebration of Hispanic authors, but also the creative talent of some of our colleagues and students, could be a great opportunity to keep, having the library in mind for many events that will again predicate the centrality of the library in the mission of the entire university and in all we do. So thank you again, Dean Wan, for your leadership, and thank you to all the wonderful, top-notch librarians that we have here, and thank you also for filming this event. And without further ado, I will just make a brief introduction of the author. Gamez Garcia is a doctoral student in the Department of Romance Languages. And I should have started by, of course, this has more sense and perhaps a little bit more of humor when said in Spanish, that me llena de orgullo y de satisfacción, which is kind of an inside joke that runs in Spain, mimicking an expression that has been used for the emeritus king, quite often in the past. So it means, I feel full of pride and satisfaction, of being able to present such an accomplished student and author. Gamez is a native of Spain. She holds 3 degrees. her training in Spain was in journalism and in English philology. Then she came to the University of Cincinnati to pursue a master's degree in Spanish. She was thinking at the time that she was done, but we were able to convince her to stay for the doctorate. And as it's proven by the book, that was a very good decision on her part, because that gave her the time to keep honing the work that gave birth to this book, and she's going to tell us a little bit about that later. But I will just make a brief mention to the content of the book. The book she's going to present, and we are going to have also a little dramatized reading afterwards, is a comedy, which we are always in bad need of, as you know. And in this case, it's a political comedy. But a political comedy with also utopian notes, because in this comedy, bad politicians end up in jail, and politicians try to breach the ideological gaps, and try to approve measures that are good for everybody, and so in that sense, it's also a utopian kind of comedy, but nevertheless, is a wonderful comedy, and I'm sure that you are going to enjoy the dramatized reading. The title of the book is La Fauna del Poder, which we might translate as the political fauna, and it's based in the events are happening in an unnamed Mediterranean country that some inadvertent reader might confuse with Spain, perhaps, and it's as far as I know the first creative work that acknowledges the emergence of new political parties in Spain that are right now in the process of breaking the bipartisanship that had been so historically present in Spanish politics. So I don't want to take more time, because it's going to be more valuably used by Mar's own words. So please join me in welcoming her to the program.
Well, good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you for being here. Thank you, Carlos, for that great introduction. Thanks to the University of Cincinnati Libraries for this opportunity, and thank you for the McMicken College of Art and Sciences for holding this event. Well, first of all, I would like to speak a little bit about the origins of this work, why I wrote it. It was part of a creative writing course that I took in the fall semester of 2013. Professor Andrés Pérez Simón, and who is a professor here in the Department of Romance Languages and Literatures, taught a creative writing course in which the students had to write a play, and he invited a Spanish playwright named Ignacio Garcia May, who's a prestigious playwright in Spain, and both of us taught that course. And we were about 15 students in that course, and we had to write a play that was about 20 to 30 pages long, and we could choose the topic we wanted. So for that course, which was 3 years ago, I wrote the first draft of this play that today I have here, and it was published. I'm going to share it with you. Okay, I'm going to pass it so that you can have a look. And since I only brought one copy, because I had a book presentation in Spain, and I sold all my copies. I'm sorry, I cannot sell any more here. But I brought some pages so that you can read about it. Some of them are in Spanish and other in English, so I'm going to pass them through. So for that course, we all had to write a play and then perform it in class and give advice, pieces of advice to our colleagues. And some of my colleagues who are here wrote a play about topics such as homosexuality, racism, violence, or science. And I decided to write it about how the economic crisis was affecting Spain and other southern European countries, because there was no other work of literature that was talking about that at the moment. And I thought that if there's an event that has affected the 21st century is the economic crisis, especially in Spain. We still haven't recovered from it. So if I had to write a play, I wanted to write it about that, because I thought we were living a really important moment in history. Also, I had the feeling that bipartisanship was going to end in Spain. So I wanted to capture that in my play. Because in Spain, as some of you or most of you know, I guess, in 2011, this new movement, 15M, emerged and tried to put an end to bipartisanship. But no political party emerged until 2014. Mm-hmm. So in my play, I thought that this would happen, and I sort of predicted that idea. So what's this book about? So in this book, that is set in a southern European country, we have a conservative president that has the absolute majority, and he can pass any measures he wants because he has absolute majority. But his country is hit by this crisis, so he has to pass measures that have been told by the European Union and the International Monetary Fund. So the president feels that he has to pass some unpopular measures, and he's also in love with the leader of the opposition, okay? Because as you know, in any book that tries to be good or attract readers, there should be love. So I thought I should incorporate some love in my book, and nothing could be funnier than having the president in love with the leader of the opposition, right? So the president is in love with the leader of the opposition, and even though he's conservative, he decides to turn left in order to make her fall in love with him, and also because he knows that his measures are unpopular, right? So then what happens? What happens is that the leader of the opposition needs to turn right because the president is stealing her voters now, right? So then we get to a point where voters don't know who to vote, and a minor party starts to emerge in polls. Mm-hmm. But there are 2 years left until the next general elections. So the only way to put an end to that government is by killing the president. Because according to the constitution of that country, if the president dies or is killed, then there will be a general election. So then several plots of assassination take place, and it ends up being really funny because then the person who's supposed to die maybe doesn't die, and other people die who are really important. So it's quite fun. Well, so I also would like to mention a few interesting ideas about this book. So as you have in that paper, probably the most important thing about this book is that it's the first book that talks about the end of bipartisanship, and it was able to predict what would happen in Spain. some years afterwards. So I wrote this in the fall of 2013, but the new political party, which looks like the party in my play, didn't emerge until months later in 2014. So I wrote it in the fall of 2013, and then Podemos was registered in 2014 in January, and even though it was registered as a party in 2014, people didn't know about it until May 2014, which is when the elections to the European Parliament took place, and then this party got lots of votes. And also, so in my play, there is this party which looks very much alike to Podemos, which is one of the two new parties that emerged, Ciudadanos and Podemos. In the play, you have two male characters who are the leaders of that party, Estrada and Costa. And as Professor Andrés Pérez Simón says in his prologue to this book, those two leaders look very much alike to Pablo Iglesias and Íñigo Errejón, which are the two leaders of that party. Because you have the main leader who's like sort of evil and wants to control everything, and then you have the other, Costa, who is more similar to Íñigo Errejón, who's supposed to be the good one for many people of those two leaders. So that's why this play has been in some national and local media. And another thing that I sort of predicted with my book that later happened was the idea of the big coalition in Spain. So when I wrote this book, our president, who is now an interim president, Mariano Rajoy, had absolute majority in parliament. So he could pass any law he wanted, right? But in my play, he's that president who's based obviously on Rajoy, although a little bit on Zapatero too. He's in love with the leader of the opposition, right? So since he's in love, he wants to spend more time with her, right? So he offers to have a coalition with her so that the two parties could sort of rule together and pass many agreements, because that way he could spend a lot of time with her in meetings, right? Because he prefers being with her rather than with the ministers of his own party. So in my play, he wants to have this coalition, which is an idea that was not popular in Spain at the time, right? I borrowed this idea from Germany, because Angela Merkel, as you know, the German president, is in power thanks to a coalition with the Social Democrats. So I borrowed this idea from Germany. And now in Spain, the current president, we have Rajoy. So he was 4 years in power. Last December, there were some elections, and he won again, but he didn't have absolute majority. And so since then, we've had another election, in June, and he's still the interim president. He hasn't got enough power to become the president. So now he's offering the leader of the opposition, who's not a woman, it's a man, Pedro Sánchez. He's offering him to form a great coalition against the Catalan independentists and this new political party that I talk about in my play. So I sort of predicted that idea too. And also something important to mention, since Carlos is here, and I think we all love Golden Age literature, is that if you read this play, you can see the influence of Golden Age literature in me, in my writing, which is something I love, of course. So you can see that in the figure of the servant. He's like El Gracioso in Golden Age literature, and the relationship that the servant has with the president, it sort of reminds me of that of Don Quixote with Sancho Panza, right? At the time when I was writing that play, I wasn't aware of that influence of Golden Age literature in me. But when I gave this final project to Professor Andrés Pérez Simón and Ignacio Garcia May, the first thing Ignacio Garcia May told me is that he could clearly see the influence of Golden Age literature in my play, and that I should exploit that more, and that was something he liked very much. Also, if you read the play, you'll notice that it has a really big symbolic value. So the name of the characters have carefully been chosen, because I didn't want to set the play in Spain, although it talks about many things that happen or happened in Spain, like the president doesn't speak English in the play. Rajoy didn't speak English at the time, now he's learning it. Yeah.
Sort of.
Sort of. In Spain, we're really mad at that because he goes to European Union meetings and you see all the European leaders talking and he's always on a side because he cannot have a conversation with them. So I was really mad at that when I wrote my play because I studied English philology and also because I was a journalist. And when he had absolutely majority in power, he wouldn't give press conferences to journalists. So he would do them from a TV, in plasma. So I was like, I need to write about this. And now he's changed, okay? So and now he lost the majority and he realized he had to change because there was much criticism. So now he knows a little bit of English and gives press conferences to journalists, so I really appreciate that. As I said, it's important. Another thing that I should mention is that I tried to create a universal play. So even though you may read it and think, well, this is Spain, I chose the name of the character so that the play could happen either in Spain, Italy, or Portugal. So the names are Estrada, which is based on Luis there, who was in that course, and I was like, I love your last name, because that could be Italian, Portuguese, or Spanish. So, and then Hunter, it also has a symbolic value because the leader of the European Union that comes to that meeting tries to flirt with the leader of the opposition, so he's sort of a hunter. And also, Mrs. Moore, if you read the play, she's Angela Merkel, right? Mrs. Moore means Mrs. Wall, and she's like a wall. And that's sort of like Angela Merkel was in the past. I think now she's become a little bit more softened, and she understands more Southern European countries. But some years ago, we had the feeling that she was really harsh, and she was forcing us to pass all those unpopular measures we didn't really want to pass. And another thing that I would like to mention is that the servant represents the Spanish youth, and that's something that Professor Andrés Pérez Simón mentions in the prologue, because he was the first in his class. He studied law, but he could only find a job as a servant. So he's quite mad because the president doesn't speak English, but in order to get hired in Palace, he had to know 2 languages. So he represents all those young Spaniards that either can't find a job or find a job that is not the best job or the appropriate job for them. And also, I think it's important to mention that the ending of this play is the same one as the ending I wrote for the first draft. So I didn't want to change the ending after I saw how Podemos was. I didn't want to make my party more evil or the solution to the problem in that country, because and I think it was a good decision, because I think no party is the solution to the problems of a country. All parties have their own problems, and there's corruption in every party. So I'm glad that I kept that ending, because before I wrote the play, I was wondering whether I should have whether there should be a happy ending, since in Golden Age plays there's always a happy ending, but I'm glad I didn't do a happy ending, because this is the 21st century, this is not the 16th century, and endings in politics are normally not happy. Yeah, unfortunately. And well, to conclude, I just wanted to say that I'm really thankful for the University of Cincinnati to offer that course, because if I hadn't come here, I wouldn't have written this play. And I really liked the experience, and I'm really glad this play will be performed next year in Spain. And now I really enjoyed it so much that I want to write a second play. And last semester I took a creative writing course on how to write a novel. And I don't think I want to write a novel, but I want to write a play with that plot. So hopefully I can find some free time during this PhD and write my second play, which will be about Catalan nationalism. Because since I was a journalist, and I still feel like a journalist, even though I don't work as it anymore, I feel that I have to write about what's happening in the world right now. The literature should talk about our problems, so I want to write about that topic. And well, that's all. First, I will ask you if you have any questions, and then we'll do the reading in Spanish. So, do you have any questions? No questions? Yeah.
Are you, now that it's kind of successful, do you think, and you're in the United States, were you thinking you might translate the play into English?
Yeah. Yeah. My boyfriend, I don't know if he's here, he's actually American, and he's graduating from his master's this summer. So when he graduates, we talked about translating it into English. And because I think, because it's not only about Spain, it's also about what's happening in Italy, Portugal, and Greece. If you read the book, the ending is closer to what happened in Greece than what's happening in Spain. So I think if this book is translated to English, it will be really interesting for American scholars too. So I want to translate it to English. I need to talk to the publishing company and say how much that would cost if they're willing to do it. But yeah, I'm willing to do it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Camilo?
I was wondering why, because you said on your future projects you're thinking about a second play, that you already have the plot and the structure for a novel. Can you elaborate on why you prefer the theater rather than narrative?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So when I wrote those chapters of my novel, my professor said, it's okay, you can write novel, but I don't feel comfortable because I tend to go to the point. So there's something I want to say, and I say directly. I don't like writing too many adjectives and describing too much. I prefer writing a dialogue and the important scenes. So, because also when I write, so sometimes to me, I don't know if this happens to you, and we're all literature scholars, so maybe you don't want to say that openly, but sometimes I read books that are really thick, and I think if I had written that, I would have taken out like 50 pages. There are like 50 pages you don't need, right? So when I write, I want to write things that are necessary to the plot. I don't like writing additional information because I feel I'm losing the reader's interest. I don't know. So I think theater captures more that, and I feel more comfortable writing theater. Yeah. But my professor said that the chapters that I submitted for that course were fine, and then some novelists, when they write, they don't give too many descriptions, that's fine, but I don't know, I feel more comfortable writing theater. And I also like the idea of seeing people perform it. So then you depend on a theater company to perform it, and that's also a drawback. But and also when you want to get it published, it's a lot easier if it's a novel than if it's a play. So yeah, I wish I was able to write novels, or I felt more comfortable. Because actually, when my publishing company published this play, they said in their website that it was a novel, and I was like, no, it's a play. And even some media said it was a novel, because it's the first novel that this publishing company has published. Because it's a big publishing company, so it has different sellos. Mm-hmm.
The first play.
Yeah, because it's a big publishing company, it has different sellos editoriales. Collections, and in this collection, which is for young authors that write their first books, this is the first play. So they didn't have a category for novels. So you get the idea of how difficult it is to publish theater in Spain. Yeah, but I sent this book to 8 publishing companies in last January, and 2 of them wanted to have it published. So I'm quite happy about that. I chose the second one because they also offered to do an ebook, whereas the first one didn't do it, and the first company was like, I don't know if we would be able to sell it in Amazon or just paperback, and the second one said there will be an ebook version and it will be on Amazon, El Corte Inglés, and La Casa del Libro. So I was like, okay. Mm-hmm. I feel a bit guilty that I chose the second one, but those things happen. More questions?
Well, I just wanted to say that when Debbie was wondering whether there will be a translation, the first thing that crossed my mind in terms of a translation is whether the plot here could be translated to American politics, where two politicians running for president might end up falling in love.
Trump and Hillary. Yeah. Also, I don't know if you watch or have watched House of Cards. Have you watched it? Okay, so you know that Underwood gets sick, goes to hospital, and his health is an issue in the TV series. So I was like, wow, they also predicted what sort of would happen with Clinton, and there are many things in common too.
But not even they, in their imagination, predicted Trump.
Yeah, that was difficult to predict. But I don't know what you think, but I think some American writers should talk about what's happening in American politics now. If I were an American writer, I would write about that for sure. Yeah. Maybe Caleb. He's studying creative writing, so you should do that. Any more questions? Or comments? No? Okay. So then some of my classmates and colleagues and I are going to read the first 2 scenes of the play. So scene number 1 and scene number 2. It will be in Spanish because the book hasn't been translated yet. I hope you enjoy it. Mm-hmm. So Diego Mora will be the president, because he's really comic. I thought he could capture that. And then Gemma Ibarra will be the socialist leader. Mm-hmm. She's also really sexy, so it makes sense. And then Luis is the vice president because he's more serious. So he tells him off all the time. He's like, no, you should control in front of the socialist leader. And I'm gonna be the servant. who in this book is a man in his 30s. But I wanted it to be a woman, to be, I'm giving you like some extra information, right? So since I'm a feminist, of course, I wanted the most important character in the play to be a woman, right? I wanted it to be a woman, and this character is really important to the play because he solves all the problems. And I wanted it to be a journalist because I thought, but if this character finds out what's happening, then he would want to publish it and tell it to the police and the news, because some people, maybe you see something, but you're like, I don't want to say anything about this because I don't want to lose my job. But if the character was a journalist, then the character needed to say that. But then, since this servant has a really close relationship with the president, they're sort of like Don Quixote and Sancho Panza, and the servant tells the president how to make the socialist leader fall in love, then it makes a lot more sense that the servant is a man, because they're, they can give each other some advice on that. So that's why the servant is a man, because it makes more sense for the play. But I would have liked that it was a woman. So, in the first scene takes place in the presidential palace, and we have the president, the vice president, and the servant. And she will appear later in the second scene. Okay? Buenos días, señor presidente.
Buenos días, ha dicho. Serán para usted. Se nota que no ha leído los periódicos de hoy.
La verdad es que no he tenido tiempo todavía.
Todos los sondeos nos dan la intención de voto más baja de la democracia. La oposición sigue por delante en las encuestas y, por si fuera poco, la prima de riesgo está por las nubes. Menos mal que todavía quedan 2 años de legislatura y que, gracias a Dios, ganamos por mayoría absoluta.
No se preocupe, señor presidente. Ya verá cómo las cosas cambian pronto. Hace solo unos años éramos la 8ª potencia mundial. Y mírenos ahora, estamos a la cola de Europa.
Pues menudo consuelo me da usted. ¿Por qué no se dedica esta mañana a lo suyo, que es servirme el desayuno, y se deja de opinar tanto? Le he dicho 1000 veces que no me gusta la leche caliente, pero no hirviendo, que si no, no hay quien se tome el té. A ver cuándo aprende.
Aquí tiene una jarra de leche fría. Disculpe, señor presidente, tiene usted razón. ¿Cómo se me puede haber olvidado? La leche templada y el té recién traído de Inglaterra, como al señor le gusta. Pero recuerde que lo de servir el desayuno en realidad no es lo mío. Como usted sabe, yo en realidad soy licenciado.
Ah, sí, es cierto. ¿Licenciado en qué era usted?
En Derecho. Pero tal y como está la justicia, pues ya sabe. Este fue el único trabajo que encontré. Y claro, con la tasa de desempleo en los niveles en que la tenemos, está uno como para rechazarlo.
Y dale. No, si al final me va usted a hacer sentar mal el desayuno con tanto comentario.
No se preocupe, ya me marcho.
Buenos días, presidente.
Buenos días, mi querido vicepresidente.
¿Leyendo la prensa?
Sí.
No se preocupe demasiado. Está usted haciendo lo correcto. Lo único que puede y debe hacer un gobierno en una coyuntura como la actual.
Supongo que tiene razón, pero me gustaría no verme obligado a realizar tantos reformas.
Lo sé. Nuestras medidas son impopulares, pero son las únicas que sacarán adelante al país. Además, los sondeos son solo encuestas. Todavía queda mucho para las elecciones generales. Lo importante es que aún contamos con apoyo parlamentario y comunitario. Piense que es imposible tener siempre contento a todo el pueblo. ¿Es que acaso lo ha conseguido algún presidente anterior?
No, imagino que no.
Pues eso, no se preocupe. ¿Desea usted que repasemos una vez más la reunión con la líder de la oposición de esta tarde?
No, creo que ya hemos preparado suficientemente.
Lo siento, es que me fío tan poco de esa mujer.
¿Por qué dice eso?
Bueno, no me irá a negar que está loco de amor por ella. Cada vez que la veo se reúnen, se pone usted sumamente nervioso y comienza a actuar de forma extraña. Se le pone la cara de tonto y los ojos de cordero degollado. Ya los he visto yo antes. No es la primera vez que lo veo así por una mujer.
Veo que me conoce usted muy bien. No se lo voy a negar, pero creo que ya he aprendido a cómo controlarme delante de unas faldas. Ya no soy aquel jovenzuelo mujeriego que usted conoció en la universidad. Tranquilícese. Solo deseo mantener un encuentro informal con la señorita Santana para poder conocer su punto de vista y calmar un poco el panorama nacional. Hay demasiada tensión en el ambiente y eso no nos beneficia. Como usted ya sabe, el Partido Socialista nos aventaja holgadamente en las encuestas. Por ello, conviene que nos reunamos ella y yo para así mejorar las relaciones entre ambos partidos y poner fin a su feroz oposición. Eso es todo.
Bueno.
Le repito que todo va a salir perfectamente. Confía en mí. Y ahora, tómese usted un descanso. Le noto demasiado estresado. ¿Cuánto tiempo hace que no se toma unas vacaciones o pasa una tarde en familia?
No sabría decirle. Creo que hace demasiado tiempo de eso.
Pues entonces, tómese el resto del día libre y lleve a sus hijos y a su mujer al parque o al cine, lo que usted quiera. Invita a la casa. Es lo mínimo que puedo hacer por todas las veces que le he separado de su familia últimamente.
La verdad es que suena alentador, pero no sé si debería...
¡Claro que sí, hombre! ¿Sabe qué? He leído esta misma mañana que un nivel demasiado alto de estrés puede producir bruxismo. No me gustaría que usted terminara padeciéndolo, ¿entiende?
¿Bru qué?
Bruxismo. Es cuando uno está tan estresado que sus dientes no paran de chirriar y chocarse los unos contra los otros durante la noche mientras duerme. Al final, uno acaba con una dentadura más roída y horrible que un tiburón. Tiene usted unos dientes maravillosos. No querrá acabar como un vampiro, ¿no? No quedaría nada bien en cámara. Seguramente su mujer dejaría de notarle atractivo. Además, perjudicaría notablemente a la imagen de nuestro partido. No puedo permitírselo.
¡Qué horror!
Como le digo, luego no diga que no se lo advertí. Y ahora, márchese a su casa, es una orden.
Está bien, le llamo esta noche y lo veo mañana entonces, ¿no?
De acuerdo. Dele un saludo a su esposa de mi parte.
Claro.
So now, ahora empieza la segunda escena, the second scene. So this scene takes place also in the palace, but it's in a little room, and he brought the leader of the opposition, the socialist leader, to a tiny room in which there's only one little sofa so that they can sit together, and the paintings here are really romantic, so you have people kissing. So when she enters the room, he's not here yet, and she's looking at the paintings, and she's sort of like, what's this, right? Doesn't look too formal. Mm-hmm. Oh, and so now she's looking at the paintings, and he enters, and he tries to kiss her, give her two kisses, and then she doesn't want to, so she shakes hands. So we have like a cobra, we call it in Spain. ¿No?
Vaya.
¿Pasa algo?
No, nada, no importa. ¿Conocía usted esta sala?
No, la verdad es que no había estado aquí nunca.
Es que está reservada para las visitas especiales. Resulta acogedora, ¿verdad?
Sí, un tanto pequeña para reuniones, quizás.
¿No le gusta?
Sí, me gusta, es solo que hay demasiado espacio. El sofá es demasiado pequeño y estamos un poco apretujados, ¿no cree?
A mí no me lo parece.
Supongo que es cuestión de gustos.
¿Y los cuadros, qué le parecen? He notado que los estaba observando antes cuando entré.
Me gustan, pero no son del todo mi estilo. No me parecen demasiado apropiados para una sala de reuniones. No sé, quizás sean cosas mías. En fin, ¿le importaría dejar de hablar del mobiliario para pasar a adentrarnos en el tema que nos ocupa?
Enseguida.
Pues usted dirá.
Sí.
¿Y bien?
Quería reunirme con usted para decirle que estoy tremendamente disgustado.
¿Disgustado? ¿Con quién? ¿Conmigo?
Con usted no, señorita. Faltaría más. Estoy molesto conmigo mismo, con la animadversión entre nuestros partidos. Es algo que no me agrada, sinceramente.
Continúe.
Quería decirle que lamento mucho si le han podido molestar los últimos recortes aplicados por mi gobierno. Créame cuando le digo que no son plato de gusto para mí tampoco.
Como usted sabe, mucho menos lo son para mi partido.
La cuestión es que he estado reflexionando últimamente y he llegado a la conclusión de que, aunque mi partido cuente con mayoría absoluta, esto no quiere decir que no deba tener en cuenta sus opiniones, es decir, las del principal partido de la oposición que usted dirige. Cuando juré mi cargo hace ya un par de años, prometí gobernar para todos los ciudadanos de este país y no se puede decir que sea eso lo que esté haciendo en estos momentos. No puedo sentirme orgulloso de ello.
Estoy de acuerdo con todo lo que ha comentado hasta ahora, pero no sé muy bien a dónde quiere ir a parar con todo esto.
Lo que quiero decirle, señorita Santana, es que estoy dispuesto a escucharle y hacer lo que esté en mi mano por lograr su simpatía y la del resto de ciudadanos de esta nación. Nuestro país necesita que los líderes de los dos principales partidos políticos vayamos de la mano en esto. Hemos de trabajar juntos para lograr una mayor unidad y una menor crispación.
He de decirle que su cambio de parecer me complace enormemente, pero no veo cómo vamos a poder ir usted y yo de la mano si su partido continúa aprobando de manera unilateral políticas como las implementadas hasta ahora.
Pues entonces pida por esa boquita.
¿Cómo?
Perdón. Me he dejado llevar por la emoción y no he expresado correctamente. Le ruego que me comunique cuáles son sus propuestas para mejorar la situación económica y social de este gran país. Dígame, ¿qué problemas son los que más le preocupan a usted y a su partido?
Buenas tardes, señorita. ¿Qué desea tomar esta tarde?
Un café solo, bien cargado, por favor. Muchas gracias.
¿Y para el presidente?
Lo de siempre, y hágame usted el favor de acordarse de traerme la leche menos caliente si es usted tan amable.
Faltaría más.
Pues bien, respondiendo a su pregunta anterior, y como usted bien sabe, una de las principales preocupaciones de mi partido desde sus orígenes es la inmensa desigualdad social. No hace falta que le recuerde las siglas de mi partido, ni nuestra preocupación por la clase obrera desde los tiempos de Marx y Engels. Supongo que habrá leído que somos el segundo país de Europa con mayor porcentaje de pobreza infantil. Por ello, considero que tal vez si las grandes fortunas pagaran un porcentaje mayor de impuestos, como el 50% de sus ingresos, más o menos.
¿Ha dicho el 50%?
Sí. Y si en lugar de retrasar la edad de jubilación, la adelantáramos a los 60 años, puede que con medidas como estas, e incrementando notablemente el gasto público, consiguiéramos disminuir la tasa de desempleo del 25% actual a menos 10%. Según nuestras previsiones, esto ayudaría a retener parte del talento juvenil que se marcha al extranjero. Claro que para ello también sería necesario invertir más en investigación y desarrollo. Energías renovables, sanidad, educación.
¿Pero qué está sucediendo aquí?
¿Sabe qué se me acaba de ocurrir?
¿Qué?
Para que usted vea que no se trata de algo pasajero y que me tomo su opinión en muy alta estima, estaría de acuerdo en ofrecer una rueda de prensa conjunta esta misma tarde anunciando las nuevas medidas.
¿Qué nuevas medidas?
¿Las suyas?
¿Las mías? ¿Cuáles?
Las que me acabo de decir.
¿Cuándo? ¿Esta misma tarde?
Sí.
Pero, ¿contamos con los suficientes fondos para llevarlas a cabo? ¿No sería mejor elaborar antes un presupuesto? Mi partido lleva meses haciendo cálculos, pero desconozco la situación real de las cuentas públicas. Además, me pilla ahora mismo sin arreglar.
Está usted guapísima, no se preocupe, se lo aseguro.
Conste que me parece una locura. Aunque no me entusiasman demasiado las improvisaciones, acepto su proposición. No vaya a ser que luego usted cambie de parecer y me arrepienta más tarde de ello.
¿Le parece que convoque a los medios de comunicación de urgencia a las 7 de la tarde?
Está bien, pero ¿está usted seguro? Pensaba que no le gustaban demasiado las ruedas de prensa. Debe hacer al menos un año que no convoca una, si no me equivoco.
Es que me había dicho el médico que los focos de las cámaras me dan alergia en la piel y en los ojos.
¿En serio?
Sí, pero no creo que pase nada por un día.
Eso espero. No me gustaría montar un espectáculo en plena rueda de prensa. ¿Quiere usted llamar a su médico? Tal vez así se sienta más confiado.
No, está bien. No se preocupe, no creo que haya problema.
So then there's this press conference and he ends up passing all the measures she told him, and then the vice president comes and he's really mad at him. He's like, "What have you done? You look like a Greenpeace leader and you're the conservative president." And things go really crazy in the play. Bueno, muchas gracias.
Thank you so much, Mar, and the other performers. Just a wonderful reading and beautiful creativity. Thank you. And so, on behalf of UC Libraries, thanks so much for coming. And again, thanks to my great colleagues, Sally, Debbie, Karen, Melissa, Jay, the cinematographer today, and Carlos and all of you for making this such a wonderful event. And please come back August 21, the same time, the same place, 1:30, for another wonderful presentation and reading by Professor Romero. October 21. Did I say? Sorry. October 21, when we'll have Professor Romero do another reading for us at the same time, 1:30. Thank you so much.